Detective Mara Collins replayed the anonymous call 3 times. They weren't alone. The confession from Daniel Reeves should have sealed the case. But the lake had always felt unfinished. Cases close neatly. Truth doesn't. Collins pulled traffic cam footage again. Not just Daniel's SUV this time, but everything between 9 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. near Reed Point. At 9:32 p.m., another vehicle appeared. Dark pickup. Headlights off. Parked 200 yards from the waterline. Owner traced within hours. Ethan Cole, age 28. Former youth volunteer at Havenwood Church. Dismissed 6 months earlier. Reason, conduct violation. That was all the church file said. Too vague. Too clean. Ethan claimed he was just driving. Said he stopped to clear his head. But GPS placed him stationary for 41 minutes. 41 minutes isn't clearing your head. It's waiting. When Collins interviewed him, he avoided eye contact. You said you saw them, she pressed. I didn't say that, he corrected quickly. You said they weren't alone. Silence. He swallowed. I saw arguing. Between who? The pastor and Lila. And you didn't intervene? It wasn't my business. Yet you called me. His jaw tightened. She looked scared. There it was. Scared. Not angry. Not emotional. Scared. Collins dug deeper into Ethan's dismissal. A complaint from a parent. Inappropriate private messages to a teenage church member. Daniel had handled it internally. No police report. No charges. Just removal. Quietly. Contained. Collins saw it now. Daniel protected Ethan once. Now Ethan had protected Daniel. Because loyalty built in silence becomes complicity. Phone records showed something else. At 9:11 p.m., 6 minutes before Lila stepped out of her car, Ethan texted Daniel. Is she there? Daniel replied, yes. 2 minutes later, stay where you are. Collins leaned back. The lake hadn't held 2 people that night. It had held 3. Under pressure, Ethan cracked. Tears. Trembling hands. I didn't mean for it to go that far, he whispered. Go how far? Collins asked quietly. He covered his face. Pastor said she was unstable. Said she was threatening the church. Said she'd destroy everything. And you believed him? He said we were protecting something bigger. Collins felt the familiar chill of shared delusion. What did you do, Ethan? He shook his head violently. I just held her. The room fell silent. She was trying to leave. He grabbed her. She fought. I stopped her arms. And then, he pushed her. The words barely escaped. She hit the rock. Was she alive? Yes. The answer came instantly. Yes. And Ethan's breathing fractured. He said if she talked, we were finished. Collins didn't need to ask the final question. He told me to help. The lake hadn't swallowed a body. It had swallowed accountability. But something still didn't align. Autopsy showed water in Lila's lungs. She was alive when she entered the lake. Daniel claimed panic. Ethan claimed fear. But neither admitted to the final act. Collins confronted Daniel with Ethan's statement. For the first time, Daniel's composure cracked. You think that boy could do what needed to be done? Daniel snapped. What needed to be done? Collins asked. Silence. Then you don't understand sacrifice. Sacrifice. Not accident. Not panic. Sacrifice. Collins felt it settle. Daniel didn't push her. He decided. And as she left the interrogation room, her phone buzzed again. Forensic lab. Detective, we found something else. Pause. Fingerprints on Lila's neck. Not Daniel's. Not Ethan's. Collins stopped walking. Then whose? The lab tech hesitated. They belonged to someone else. Someone not on their radar. Someone who had never been questioned. Someone who had never been suspected. The lake hadn't kept 2 secrets. It had kept 3. The third fingerprint belonged to someone unexpected. Margaret Hale, age 62, head of church board. Daniel's strongest public defender. The woman who had called the police investigation persecution. She had been at Havenwood for 34 years. Untouchable. Respected. Invisible. Until now. Security logs placed Margaret near Reed Point that night. Her explanation? I was praying. At 9:44 p.m. near the lake. Alone. Collins didn't believe in coincidences that precise. Phone tower data showed Margaret and Daniel exchanged 2 calls after 9:30 p.m. short. 6 seconds each. Long enough for instruction. Under interrogation, Margaret remained calm. Until Collins placed the forensic photos in front of her. Finger bruising pattern. Neck compression. Daniel couldn't do it, Margaret whispered. Do what? He was shaking. He couldn't finish. Finish. There was that word again. She was gasping. Margaret continued, eyes distant. She said she wouldn't tell. But you can't trust fear. You drowned her, Collins said softly. Margaret closed her eyes. She was going to destroy God's work. No, Collins corrected. She was going to expose abuse. Margaret's voice sharpened. Sometimes evil hides in the weak. And sometimes, Collins replied, it hides in the faithful. Daniel built control. Ethan enabled loyalty. Margaret enforced protection. 3 people, 1 illusion, each convinced they were preserving something sacred, when in reality, they were preserving power. Lila hadn't just threatened Daniel. She threatened the system. And systems kill cleaner than individuals. Daniel pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. Ethan accepted manslaughter charges. Margaret Hale was convicted of first-degree murder. The church closed within months. That Havenwood sign was removed. The building sold. But 9:17 p.m. never left Maple Grove. Because that was the minute Lila stepped out of her car. The minute she still believed she could leave. The minute she didn't know 3 people were waiting to decide her fate. Detective Collins stood by Reed Point 1 year later. The lake was quiet again. Still, but she knew better. Reflects what's above it. It doesn't show what's beneath. And somewhere in the dark history of Havenwood, more secrets were buried. Because institutions don't create monsters. They create silence. And silence is what kills at 9:17.